roll. Viola. Senate will come back to order. Good Senator from Brighton is recognized. Will you please lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
And to the republic for which stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the journal. Senator Kolker.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the reading of the Journal of Friday, May 7th, 2021 be dispensed with and the journal be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes having the motion is adopted. Senate Services.
May 10th, correctly printed Senate Bill 266 and 267, SJR 21, correctly engrossed Senate Bill 129, 138, 140, 154, 239, correctly re-engrossed Senate Bill 27, 108, 175, correctly revised House Bills 1084 and 1116.
Message from the House.
May 7th, Mr. President, the House has passed on third reading and returns here with Senate Bills 92 and 171. The House has passed on third reading and transmits to Revisor Statutes House Bill 1285 amendments printed in House Journal May 5th. The House has passed on third reading and transmits to Revisor Statutes House Bill 1239 amended as printed in House Journal May 6th. The House has passed on third reading and transmits to Revisor Statutes Senate Bill 30 amended as printed in House Journal May 6th. The House has voted not to concur in the Senate amendments to House Bill 1016 and requests that a conference committee be appointed. The Speaker has appointed Representatives Ortiz, Chairman Lynch, and Tipper as House conferees with the first conference committee in House Bill 1016. The bill is transmitted herewith. The House has voted not to concur in Senate amendments to the House has voted to concur in Senate amendments to House Bills 1103, 1117, 1222, 1067, 1227, 1059, 1133, and 1217 as repassed the bills as so amended. The House has adopted and returns herewith SJR 19.
Message from the Revisor.
May 7th, we herewith transmit without comment as amended House Bills 1239, 1285 without comment as amended Senate Bill 30.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate proceed out of order to take up consideration of resolutions.
The motion is to proceed out of order to take up consideration of resolutions. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted, and the Senate will proceed out of order to take up that resolution. Consideration of resolutions. Will the clerk please read the title of the Senate Joint Resolution 018?
Senate Joint Resolution 18 by Senator Woodward and Representative Lynch concerning the designation of United States Highway 287 from the intersection of State Highway 66 to the intersection of State Highway 402 as the SPC Gabriel David Conde Memorial Highway.
Senator Woodward.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Joint Resolution 21-18 and ask that it be read at length.
Will the clerk please read Senate Joint Resolution 018 at length?
Senate Joint Resolution 18 by Senator Woodward and Representative Lynch concerning the designation of United States Highway 287 from the intersection of State Highway 66 to the intersection of State Highway 402 as the SPC Gabriel David Conde Memorial Highway. Whereas Gabe David Conde was born on November 2nd, 1995, and whereas Gabe Conde was raised in Missouri and moved with his family to Berthoud, Colorado in 2009, and whereas Gabe Conde was an athlete and a stellar student at Berthoud High School and spent his time hunting, camping, and seeking adventures in his signature white hat and boots that he was never without. And whereas, though he excelled academically and attended the Colorado School of Mines, as a freshman, Gabe Conde was drawn to a life of service with a goal of becoming a Green Beret. And whereas SPC Conde enlisted in the United States Army as a Special Forces recruit in 2015 and was assigned to the 3rd Battalion, 509th Infantry Regiment, 4th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, 25th Infantry Division stationed at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson in Anchorage, Alaska, until his deployment to Afghanistan in 2017. And whereas, nearing the end of his deployment on April 30th, 2018, SPC Conde was killed in action by small arms fire during a combat operation. And whereas, to honor the memory and legacy of SPC Conde, a man described by friends and family as a gentleman, a true warrior, and a man of God, veterans and active duty military in his hometown of Berthoud, Colorado, chartered a new VFW post in his name. And whereas Berthoud VFW Post 12189 was chartered on April 30th, 2019, exactly 1 year following SPC Conde's death. And whereas SPC Conde served his country and lived his life with honor, dignity, and integrity, and was a hero to all who knew him. And whereas it is only fitting that SPC Conde's bravery and love of God, his country, and his fellow man be recognized so that we may never forget his sacrifice to our great nation. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate of the 73rd General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the House of Representatives concurring herein, that the portion of United States Highway 287 from the intersection of State Highway 66 to the intersection of State Highway 402 be designated as the SPC Gabriel David Conde Memorial Highway. That the Colorado Department of Transportation may accept and expend gifts, grants, and donations for the purpose of the initial placement of signs to mark United States Highway 287 from the intersection of State Highway 66 to the intersection of State Highway 402 as the SPC Gabriel David Conde Memorial Highway. That the Colorado Department of Transportation may explore a cooperative agreement with the Board of County Commissioners for Boulder and Larimer counties for the maintenance of the signs marking the SPC Gabriel David Conde Memorial Highway. Be it further resolved that copies of this joint resolution be sent to his mother and father, Donna and Bob Conde, his uncle Monse Conde, VFW Post 12189, Commander Ryan Armagost, the Board of County Commissioners of Boulder County, and the Board of County Commissioners of Larimer County.
Senator Woodward.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, please be seated. Specialist Gabriel David Conde was from Berthoud, Colorado. Gabe graduated from Berthoud High School having excelled in academics, music, and sports. Gabe had completed his freshman year at the Colorado School of Mines before enlisting and pursuing his dream of becoming a Green Beret in 2015. Gabe was first assigned to a joint base in Alaska. Then in September 17, he was deployed to Afghanistan in support of Operation Freedom Sentinel, where he was selected to support the Special Operations Joint Task Force. Over 8 months, he and his platoon provided uplift support to the Green Beret elements and Afghan National Security Forces. Gabe went on approximately 80 missions. Specialist Gabriel David Conde was killed in action on April 30th, 2018, during an intense firefight in Afghanistan. Gabe was providing cover fire from the roof of a building to protect fellow U.S. Army Green Berets and Afghan Army commandos who were maneuvering through the urban terrain to reach the building. Gabe stood strong, without regard for his own safety, engaging enemies while also calling out enemy positions to our ground forces. He continued engaging the enemy and defending his fellow soldiers, even as enemy rounds and shrapnel struck the building and his body armor. It was during this intense battle that Gabe was struck by a single bullet that missed his armor and killed him instantly. An Afghan head wrap that Gabe wore across his chest was found to have 6 bullet holes. I did not get the honor to meet this young man, but I joined thousands of Berthoud locals as they lined the streets for his funeral, and I had the opportunity to meet some of those people who knew him. He was special. He left behind a treasure of poetry, diary entries, and other original writings, and his parents have published this book. It is a treasure, an inspiration. At just 22 years old, he was the kind of man that we should all aspire to emulate. He loved God, he loved his family, he loved his friends, he loved Colorado, and he loved our great nation. And he lived his life so that evil could be vanquished. This resolution will honor the memory and legacy of Specialist Gabe Condy's bravery and love for his country and fellow man. Renaming a section of U.S. Highway 287 that runs near Gabe's home will serve our community as a reminder of this brave young man, so that we may never forget his sacrifice for our great nation. Bob and Donna, we share in your sorrow, but we join you today to celebrate his memory.
Having no further discussion, the motion before the body is the passage of Senate Joint Resolution 018. Senator Woodward.
Mr. President, I ask for a roll call vote.
A roll call vote has been requested. Will the clerk please poll the members?
Bridges. Bridges, aye. Buckner. Buckner, aye. Coleman. Coleman, aye. Cook. Cook, aye. Quorum. Quorum, aye. Danielson. Danielson, aye. Donovan. Pass. Say pass. Go to the next one. Yeah. Pass. Thinberg. Thinberg, aye. Fields. Fields, aye. Gardner. Gardner, aye. Janal. Janal, aye. Gonzalez. Gonzalez, aye. Hanson. Hanson, aye. Heisey. Heisey, aye. Holbert. Holbert, aye. Hawkes Lewis. Hawkes Lewis, aye. Kirkmeyer. Kirkmeyer, aye. Colker. Colker, aye. Lee. Lee, aye. Liston. Liston, aye. Lundeen. Lundeen, aye. Moreno. Pedersen. Pedersen, aye. Priola. Priola, aye. Rankin. Rankin, aye. Rodriguez. Rodriguez, aye. Scott. Scott, aye. Simpson. Simpson, aye. Smallwood. Smallwood, aye. Sonnenberg. Sonnenberg, aye. Story. Story, aye. Winter. Winter, aye. Woodward.
Aye.
Woodward, aye. Zenzinger. Zenzinger, aye. Donovan. Donovan, aye. Mr. President.
Aye.
Mr. President, aye.
With 35 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, and 0 excuse, Senate Joint Resolution 018 is passed. Co-sponsors. Senator Woodward.
Mr. President, I would request that the morning roll call be added as co-sponsors.
Senator Woodward, can we use the current roll call?
Current roll call would be fantastic.
Seeing no objection, the current roll call will be added as co-sponsors on Senate Joint Resolution 018. The Senate will stand in a brief recess to recognize our guests. The Senate will come back to order. Third reading of bills consent calendar. Will the clerk please read all the bills listed on the third reading of bills consent calendar?
House Bill 1084 by Representative Exelman, Van Winkle, and Senators Heisey and Colker concerning the ability of certain individuals in the custody of the State Department of Human Services to acquire legal authority to drive and in connection therewith make an appropriation. House Bill 1116 by Representative Holtorf and Ortiz and Senators Liston and Garcia concerning access to state parks by Purple Heart recipients. Senate Bill 129 by Senator Garcia and Representative Ortiz concerning establishing a pilot program to reduce the suicide rate among veterans and in connection therewith making an appropriation. Senate Bill 138 by Senator Coleman, Representatives Sandbridge and Bacon concerning measures to improve the support of persons in the criminal justice system with a brain injury in connection with making an appropriation. Senate Bill 154 by Senators Colker and Simpson, Representatives Cutter and Soper concerning the implementation of the 988 National Suicide Prevention Lifeline Network in Colorado in connection therewith making an appropriation. Senate Bill 239 by Senators Colker and Zenzinger and Representatives Amabali and Van Bever concerning the statewide communication system for referral to behavioral services and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the passage of all the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar, which includes House Bill 1084, House Bill 1116, and Senate Bills 129, 138, 154, and 239.
Is there any discussion on any of the bills? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of all the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar. Are there any no votes on any of the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar? Senator Lundin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request to be recorded as a no vote on Senate Bill 138.
Senator Lundin will be recorded as a no vote on Senate Bill 138. Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask to be recorded as a no vote on Senate Bill 138.
The Minority Leader will be recorded as a no vote on Senate Bill 138. With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excuse, House Bill 1084 is passed. Co-sponsors. Senators Moreno, Zenzinger, Janal, Buckner, Story, Hawkes Lewis, Smallwood, Priola, Woodward, please add Senator Donovan. Will the clerk please read the title of the Senate bill, with a vote of 33 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excuse, House Bill 1116 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Sonnenberg, Simpson, Rodriguez, Bridges, Rankin, Woodward, Kirkmeyer, Lee, Pedersen, Winter, Gardner, Moreno, Colker, Story, Scott, Heisey, Smallwood, Cook, Zenzinger, Buckner, Coram, Danielson, Donovan, Hanson, Hawkes Lewis, Priola, Janal, Gonzalez, Lundin, Fields, Rodriguez. With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 129 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Donovan, Moreno, Simpson, Sonnenberg, Janal, Winter, Colker, Bridges, Kirkmeyer, Coram, Woodward, Scott, Story, Heisey, Smallwood, Priola, Pedersen, Lee, Gonzalez, Rankin, Cook, Rodriguez, Liston, Hawkes Lewis, Danielson, Zenzinger, Buckner, Hanson, Lundin, the Majority Leader, Gardner, with a vote of 33 ayes, 2 no votes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, Senate Bill 138 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Moreno, Gonzalez, Janal, Priola, Bridges, Donovan, Story, Lee, Winter, Buckner, Hawkes Lewis, Kolker, Bridges, Pedersen, Hanson, the Majority Leader, Danielson. Please add the President. With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 154 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Story, Janal, Bridges, Priola, Sonnenberg, Buckner, Heisey, Winter, Coram, Gardner, Moreno, Hawkes Lewis, Zenzinger, Hanson, Majority Leader, Smallwood, Rankin, Gonzalez, Scott, Lee, Danielson, Pedersen. Please add the President. With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 239 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Janal, Story, Simpson, Bridges, Hawkes Lewis, Buckner, Lee, Moreno, the Majority Leader, Danielson, Gardner, Hanson, Winter, Rodriguez, Pedersen, Heisey. Please add the President. General orders. Second reading of bills, consent calendar. Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself to the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted, and the Senate resolve itself to the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar, and Senator Bridges will take the chair.
The committee will come to order, and the code rule is not relaxed. Will the clerk please read the titles of all the bills on the general orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar?
Senate Bill 254 by Senators Cookmeyer and Zenzinger and Representative Lynch and Pico concerning the elimination of the obsolete advisory committee on the licensing of child care facilities. House Bill 1256 by Representative Lundin and Senators Winter and Simpson concerning the promulgation of rules by the Department of Health Care Policy and Financing as it relates to the entities that deliver services predominantly through telemedicine.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move for the adoption of all the bills on the consent calendar, which includes Senate Bill 254 and House Bill 1256.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the bills on the general order, second reading of bills, consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it, and all those bills are adopted. Majority Leader Fenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
Question before us is the committee to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has met and had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report as had in consideration the following attached bills being the second reading thereof makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 254 passed on second reading, order engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1256 passed on second reading, order revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the report.
The motion is for the adoption of the committee of the whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, the committee of the whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 254 passed on second reading, order engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1256 passed on second reading, order revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. General order, second reading of bills. Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself, the Committee of the Whole, consideration of general orders, second reading of bills.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted, and the Senate resolve itself, the Committee of the Whole, for consideration of general order, second reading of bills, and Senator Bridges will take the chair.
The committee will come to order, and the coat rule is relaxed for senators, press, staff, sergeants, everyone I can relax it for. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 174 lay over until May 11th.
The motion before the committee is to lay over Senate Bill 174 until May 11th. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. That bill will lay over to May 11th. Will the clerk please read the title to House Bill 1235?
House Bill 1235 by Representative Byrd and Benavides and Senator Story concerning measures to improve public safety through the modification of the regulation of fireworks.
Senator Story.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move House Bill 1235 and the Business, Labor, and Technology Committee report.
To the committee report.
Thank you. The amendment that we made in committee assures that the bill doesn't unnecessarily hamper legal fireworks sales while preserving the intent of the bill to close the out-of-state driver's license loophole.
Is there any further discussion of the committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Business, Labor, and Technology Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. That report is adopted. To the bill. Is there any further discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill is focused on fireworks in particular. And it's focused, as many of you know, there are fireworks that leave the ground in Colorado are illegal. And despite this, we've seen a proliferation of illegal fireworks in residential areas. And these illegal fireworks are a public safety issue. They trigger a tremendous amount of stress for our veterans suffering from PTSD. They terrify family pets, and they cause significant harm to people with sensitive hearing disorders. So this bill clarifies that it is unlawful for a person who is licensed as a retailer, display retailer, wholesaler, or importer of fireworks to sell or furnish fireworks to a person who is not licensed to buy or possess fireworks or display fireworks. And it additionally, the bill closes the loophole that allows drivers who present an out-of-state driver's license and an out-of-state vehicle registration to purchase fireworks that would otherwise only be available for purchase to commercial users. The bill would still permit the sale of fireworks to individuals who have an out-of-state wholesale number, an out-of-state retail number, an out-of-state resale number, or a Colorado exporter license, and I urge your support on this bill.
Thank you, Senator Story, making illegal fireworks illegal. The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1235. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. That bill is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title to Majority Leader Fenberg?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 169 lay over until May 12th.
The question before us is to lay over Senate Bill 169 to May 12th. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. That bill will lay over. Will the clerk please read the title to House Bill 1168?
House Bill 1168 by Representative Bacon and Ricks and Senators Colquitt concerning historically underutilized businesses and local government procurement.
Senator Colker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Will you please move House Bill
I
1168?
am, I'm looking here. I move House Bill 1168.
Great. The question, is there any discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 11. Oh, Senator Heisey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I heard this bill in committee, and I'm not concerned with the premise of the bill. I am concerned with the lack of specificity in the bill. It says districts with certain budget of a certain size. It doesn't specify the size, but they will be exempt from this just because of how small they are. I'm thinking of all my small, very small school districts, fire districts. When those folks put out an RFP, they're lucky to get one person to respond, much less have a smorgasbord of people to pick from. I will not be supporting the bill, not because, like I said, of the premise of the bill, but we need some more meat on the bones before this bill is ready to move on. I would ask for a no vote.
Thank you, Senator Heisey. Is there any further discussion? Senator Kolker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to summarize the bill here as a pilot program based on recommendations previously asked for by the state. The pilot program has local municipalities who choose to work with this program and to evaluate their procurement. So, voluntary program to study the lack of historically underutilized businesses in the procurement process. And I ask for an aye vote.
Voluntary pilot program, House Bill 1168. The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1168. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. House Bill 1168 is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title to House Bill 1015?
House Bill 1015 by Representative Carver and Tipper and Senators Lundin and Janal concerning security protection for certain criminal justice system personnel.
Senator Lundin.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I move House Bill 1015 and the committee report.
To the committee report.
Thank you. This bill provides protection to folks in the criminal justice system where their personal information, if it is at large, they are potentially at risk. We had down in my district many years ago, the head of the Department of Corrections was murdered on his doorstep. That is an extreme example. Other threats to life and limb exist. The committee report and the bill resolve or certainly seek to resolve the threat posed by the availability of public information of those who are serving us, specifically in the criminal justice and correction system.
Senator Janal, to the committee report. Seeing no further discussion of the committee report, the question before us is the adoption of the Judiciary Committee report for House Bill 1015. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The committee report is adopted. To the bill, Senator Janal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Basically, this bill will make it harder to access personal information from protected persons by making it illegal to share this information publicly, and it will save lives. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1015. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. That bill is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 137?
Senate Bill 137 by Senators Pedersen and Representative Michelson, Janay, and Kennedy concerning the Behavioral Health Recovery Act of 2021 and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Senator... Is there a senator who would like to move the bill? Yes, Senator Winter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 137 and the associated Health and Human Services report in the appropriations.
To the Health and Human Services report. Is Senator Pedersen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We did a number of things because of our ongoing work with stakeholders on what we need to do now immediately to address the increase in need during this pandemic and the fallout that we've seen on the mental health crisis, as well as the substance use disorder crisis that we're experiencing. So we brought a number of items, including expanding the MAT program that is in existence. We had to bring technical changes, as well as making sure that we weren't repealing programs that were set to repeal, and I ask for your support.
Is there any further discussion of the Health and Human Services Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of that report. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. That committee report is adopted. To the Appropriations Committee report, Senator Pedersen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In the Appropriations Committee, we were narrowing significantly from where we were in committee. We still have a little bit of chopping to do in our upcoming amendments, but ask for your support.
Is there any further discussion of the Appropriations Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The Appropriations Committee report is adopted. To the bill, Senate Bill 137. Senator Winter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Even before the pandemic, we knew that we were not meeting mental health needs or addiction needs throughout the state. And every single day we were seeing people that did not have the access that they needed to get the services that they required for mental health, for addressing addiction. And we know that the second curve of responding to the pandemic is coming. And that second curve is responding to our mental health needs after we've collectively gone through this pandemic, and also addressing the addiction crisis that we see in the state. Overdose deaths were up 20% in the last year. The Colorado Crisis Hotline has been handling an increased volume of calls and texts, and in a recent survey, 53% of people asked said that they had stress, anxiety, due to the pandemic, and we are expecting an additional 75,000 deaths across the country this year as a result from the mental health and addiction crisis that we're facing. This bill is an incredible step forward in investing in our systems of support. It's increasing access, increasing timeliness, and helping create a workforce that can respond to this crisis, and we encourage a yes vote.
Senator Pedersen, would you like to speak to the amendment, or would you like to speak to the bill first?
No, I was just.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We do have multiple amendments. While we were able to reduce some of the spending that we had in the bill originally, we have additional cuts to make before we move forward. We brought a comprehensive package here to address a dire systemic need right now in Colorado, and there were hundreds of people who participated over the last, really it's been the last 5 years that I've been doing this work with these groups and these experts who are on the ground doing this work to tell us, exactly what's happening and what the needs are. But over the last, over the summer, we responded by making sure we brought one-time spending to help our behavioral health system. And then we continued that working group on how we respond this year. What we've done is in this bill, we're narrowing it down to just our general fund and marijuana tax cash fund commitments. So these are our ongoing commitments that are going to be long-lasting here, and it really only brings us back to where we were before some pretty devastating cuts last year. In a different bill, we'll address one-time spending for the emergency needs in our state, but we are narrowing the scope of this bill right now. So with that, I move L016.
Thank you, Senator Pedersen. First, there is an amendment at the desk. Will the clerk please read L016?
L016.
Senator Pedersen, would you please remove that amendment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have L016 makes technical amendments just to clarify some, and I have to move it again. I move L016.
Thank you. So moved. To the amendment.
So this is really just a technical amendment, and I ask for your support.
Is there any further discussion of L016? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of L016. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Amendment is adopted. There is an amendment at the desk. Will the clerk please read Amendment L020?
Amendment L020 to Senate Bill 137 by
Senator Winter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Amendment L020. This makes a technical change to correct Section 2 of the bill, which currently repeals the repeal date for opioid prescribing limits for podiatrists. But the bill should have repealed the repeal for all opioid prescribers. And so we're correcting that error. And I encourage a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion of L020? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of L020. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. That amendment is adopted. There is an amendment at the desk. Will the clerk please read Amendment L025?
Amendment L025 to Senate Bill 137.
Senator Pedersen,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move L025.
to the amendment.
It extends the current funding for the MAT expansion program and ask for your support.
Is there any further discussion of L025? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of L025. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The aye has it, and that amendment is adopted. There is an amendment at the desk. Will the clerk please read Amendment L027?
Amendment L027 to Senate
Senator
Bill
Winter.
137.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. L027 decreases the appropriation in multiple places because the funding was either restored in the long bill or will be in a forthcoming stimulus bill.
Sounds like a great
Encourage
amendment.
yes
Would you
vote.
please move it?
I move L027.
Excellent. Is there any further discussion of Amendment L027? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of L027. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. That amendment is adopted. There is an amendment at the desk. Will the clerk please read Amendment L029?
Amendment L029 to Senate Bill 137.
Senator Pedersen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This adds a separate $200,000 appropriation for recovery residences, and I ask for your support.
Thank you for the request. May I request that you move Amendment L029?
Thank you. I move L029.
So moved. Is there any further discussion of the amendment? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of L029. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. That amendment is adopted.
Oh, actually.
There is an amendment at the desk. Will the clerk please read Amendment L0... Oh, that's the amendment we just had. Is there another amendment? There is not an amendment at the desk, it turns out. Great news for all of us. Now, that means we are to the bill. It turns out I was wrong. It has happened before, and it happened just now. My apologies to all those listening online. There is an amendment at the desk, it turns out. Indeed, there is. It is Amendment L031. Will the clerk please read L031?
Amendment L031.
Senator Fields. Senator Fields.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Amendment L031.
So moved. To the amendment.
Thank you. Members, this bill ensures that we have clinicians that understands the link between trauma and culture. So what this bill does, it makes sure that we have culturally responsive and trauma-informed clinicians to address some of the behavioral health and mental health disparities that we're seeing in the state. I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Fields. Senator Pedersen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a friendly amendment. It's important that we always have an equity lens in the work that we're doing, and I ask for your support.
Is there any further discussion of L031? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of L031. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. That amendment is adopted. To the bill, is there any further discussion of Senate Bill? Senator Priola.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to compliment the sponsors on this bill. It does a lot of good things for mental health and restores some funding that was swept in prior years. Ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Priola. Senator Simpson, I believe you had your hand up. Would you like to speak? Senator Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to the sponsors. I wanted to engage with my colleagues. I voted against the bill in committee, but I spent an abundance of time kind of reflecting about the impacts in my community in rural Colorado, particularly around suicides. I live in a really small rural community that has a disproportionate number of suicides, and recently a murder-suicide where a young woman took her own life and the lives of her two small children in elementary school. I think about the number of instances recently of illegal drug use in my community. The impacts to the system have just been tremendous, and after much reflection and thoughtfulness, I'm actually speaking in support of the bill and encourage an aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Simpson. Is there any further discussion?
Thank you both.
Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 137. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. That bill is adopted. Senator Fields.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that the committee rise and report.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee of the whole entirety of the Senate has met and had a number of bills under consideration that were very interesting. Will the clerk please read the report?
Mr. President, Committee of the Whole begs leave to report as having in consideration the following tax bills being the second reading thereof and makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 137 as amended, passed on second reading and ordering gross and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1235 as amended, House Bill 1168, House Bill 1015 as amended, passed on second reading, ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 174 laid over until May 11th and retaining its place in the calendar. Senate Bill 169 laid over until May 12th and retaining its place in the calendar.
Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the report.
The motion is the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, the Committee of the Whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 137 is amended, passed on second reading, ordered and gross and placed in the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1235 as amended, House Bill 1168. House Bill 1015 as amended, passed on second reading, ordered and revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 174 laid over until 5/11/21, retaining its place on the calendar. Senate Bill 169 laid over until 5/12/21 and retaining its place on the calendar. The following change in bill sponsorship will occur. Senator Winter will be added as a co-prime sponsor along with Senator Pedersen on Senate Bill 21-137. Consideration of resolutions. Will the clerk please read the title of Senate Joint Resolution 021? Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Joint Resolution 21 lay over until May 17th.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted, and Senate Joint Resolution 021 will lay over until 5/17/21 and retain its place on the calendar. Conferees for the First Conference Committee on House Bill 1016. In response to the House request for a conference committee on House Bill 1016, the following senators are appointed as members of the First Conference Committee on House Bill 1016. Senators Garcia, Chair, Rodriguez, and Gardner. Delivered to the Governor.
May 7th to the Governor for signature on Friday, May 7th at 1 o'clock, Senate Bill 205.
Message from the Governor.
Thursday, May 6th, Colorado Senate. Honorable members of the Colorado Senate Pursuant to the authority vested in the office of the Governor of the State of Colorado, I have the honor to inform you that I have approved and filed with the Secretary of State the following act. Senate Bill 67, Strengthening Civics Education, approved on Thursday, March 6 at 1:25 p.m. Senate Bill 99, Sunset License Plate Disability Support Act, approved on Thursday, March 6 at 1:39 p.m. Senate Bill 153, Department of Correction Offender Identification System Program, approved on Thursday, May 6 at 1:40 p.m. Senate Bill 192, Housing Mentors in Youthful Offender Facility, approved on Thursday, May 6 at 1:55 p.m. Friday, May 7th, Colorado Senate. Honor members of the Colorado Senate, pursuant to authority vested in the office of the Governor of the State of Colorado, I have the honor to inform you that I have approved and filed with the Secretary of State the following acts. Senate Bill 93, Sunset Continue Healthcare Infections Advisory Committee, approved on Friday, May 7th at 4:05 p.m. Senate Bill 97, Sunset Continue Medical Transparency Act, approved on Friday, May 7th at 4:05 p.m. Senate Bill 135, Donated Alcohol Beverages for Special Events, approved on Friday, May 7th at 4:05 p.m. Senate Bill 139, Coverage for Telehealth Dental Services, approved on Friday, May 7th at 4:05 p.m. Senate Bill 179, Colorado Opportunity Scholarship Initiative Advisory Board, approved on Friday, May 7th at 4:05 p.m. Senate Bill 195, Notarization of Certain Probate Documents, approved on Friday, May 7th at 4:05 p.m. Sincerely, Jared Post, Governor.
Signing the bills.
May 10th, the President has signed SJR 19.
Announcements. Senator Rankin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Having consulted with the proper authorities, the President, Majority Leader, and Minority Leader, I request to be excused tomorrow, May 11th.
Senator Rankin will be excused on 5/11 as requested. Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Colleagues, in the early morning hours yesterday, in the eastern part of my district in Colorado Springs, there was a mass shooting resulting in the death of 6 people and a suicide by the shooter. Even as most of us were preparing to celebrate the joyful traditions of Mother's Day, a man walked into a birthday party and began shooting. My deepest sympathies and heartfelt sorrow go out to the family and the friends of the victims, and to the neighbors and to the first responders of those killed and injured. While it is premature to understand what actually took place and motivated it, this event is incomprehensible in our consciousness. Preliminary reports suggest that this was a case of domestic violence resulting in an execution. What has occurred in our society that is unique in the world of civilized and uncivilized people is that these events keep happening with almost predictable regularity. With the events of Boulder still fresh in our thoughts, again, Colorado, our home, has the eyes of the nation upon us. All are asking, why? But we have no answers. All we have is indescribable heartbreak and shared anguish for the victims. It is my deepest hope that we use this event to think deeply about what has transpired in Colorado Springs, in Boulder, in Columbine, in a theater in Aurora, in a Platte Canyon school, in Planned Parenthood, in Arapahoe High School, in a STEM school, and others. What is the common elements that may lead us to answers and the beginning of healing? But today, we mourn and we endure the deep sadness that accompanies this staggering loss of life in our community. May I request a moment of silence for the victims and families in Colorado Springs.
The Senate will observe a moment of silence and the Senate chimes will ring.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Smallwood.
Good morning, Mr. President. After speaking with both the minority and majority leaders, I request to be marked excused tomorrow, May 11th.
Senator Smallwood will be marked excused on 5/12/21 as requested. 5/11, excuse me, 5/11 as requested. Further announcements? Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. We do have a few bills to read across. You do not need to be here for it. Mr. President, I move that the Senate recess until 12 noon today.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted, and the Senate will stand at recess until 1200 hours today.